G'day viewers, my name's Graham Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world, and lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists do what they do. Well, hi folks, and welcome back to Colour in Your Life. Well, we are in Hollywood in California today, and we are at the studio of Mr. Rob Pryor. Rob.
How you doing, man?
Welcome to the show. This is fantastic.
Great to be here.
This man here, as far as I can see, and everybody else I think in this country, is the rock and roll star of art in the United States. It's the best way to possibly describe what Rob does. He actually works with some of the leading rock bands in America and also the leading hip hop groups as well. Tech N9, for a start. Tech's a really good friend of yours, isn't he?
Yeah, he's cool.
And one of the leading hip hop people in the world. Linkin Park. What are some of the other groups as well?
Flow Rida, Zach Wild, Shinedown, just so many. I mean, I've Jay-Z,
Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
But when you see what Rob does, which is the incredible part, he actually uses both of his hands to produce his work, which is really quite amazing, and they are absolutely dynamically stunning pieces. It's the best way I could describe it.
Thank you.
With clients like George Lucas for a start. For the first time, I've actually got some notes with me because the man has done so much with his career over a long period of time. You also work with Marvel,
DC,
Disney,
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, and you put together video games as well.
I did. I worked on Ghost Rider, Darkness.
Is it Spawn? You did some stuff with Spawn?
I did Spawn the Impaler. I've done comic books. I've worked with just about every comic company out there.
That's amazing.
I'm finishing up my last graphic novel that I will ever do, a full graphic novel called Blood Merchant for Benaroya Pictures, Mike Benaroya.
So how did you come about wanting to use two hands?
When I was 10 years old, I was being trained to be an artist my whole life. My family line are artists, but none by profession. I thought the same thing that every 10-year-old thinks. What if I lose my right hand?
Yeah.
No 10-year-old thinks that. And so I switched. I switched to my left hand to be my dominant hand, and I retaught myself how to write. I refused, for the next 2 years, to make my right hand my dominant hand. I learned to catch. I play guitar, so I play guitar with both hands.
Wow.
And then one day, I was published pretty young, so I had an international cover due and math homework due.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta go faster. So I picked up two brushes and I was like, I can do this. And then I realized that I could actually do my math homework and paint.
At the same time, I think the painting won out in the end, didn't it?
You know, at that point, yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so that was it. So I often paint 2 paintings or 3 paintings or 4 paintings at one time.
And we've actually got some footage of Rob working on stage with Tech N9 and some of the other guys in the hip hop bands as well, which is really quite amazing. I mean, what he does on the stage is really quite dynamic, and he moves around all over the place, paints backwards, so paints upside down, I think sometimes as well. But today, we're very privileged to actually have 2 fantastic companies that are sponsoring this show. Princeton Art Brushes, which is the largest manufacturer of art brushes in the United States.
Yep.
I mean, potentially the world. And also Royal Talens from the Netherlands, who makes a huge amount of products as well. I mean, tell us something about just their products.
And, well, the thing about Princeton is I use a brush called Umbra and Catalyst.
Yeah.
But my Umbra is my favorite because it just holds its shape so well, and I abuse the hell out of my brushes. Like if you watch any clips or even see me today, I'm just like I beat the hell out of them. And no other brush, honestly, no other brush can put up with it. I've never had a brush then go back to form, and not fall apart. And with Royal Talens, the colors are amazing. The consistency of it is just perfect. And they have different things. They're inks. So I can't say good enough things about them.
It's amazing. I mean, a huge amount of ranges as far as the products are concerned.
Oh, absolutely.
Inks, watercolors, acrylics, oils, it's fantastic. But you're going to be using the watercolor pencils today?
I'm using watercolor pencils and gouache.
Okay.
I might be using some ink. Half of the time, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's around me when I'm painting, I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
You know, if there's dirt there, I'll probably use that. You know, I don't know.
When you see Rob work, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. He listens to music continuously, consistently.
I can't paint without it.
He literally, if he's not listening to music of some sort, he actually stops like a robot. But he's going to have earphones in. He's going to be listening to the music, but he's still going to be able to hear me talk while he's doing what he's doing. But it's an essential part of your creativity, isn't it?
I know, and you guys come in and go, do you have to have music?
Work.
Well, either that or I could just stand there the whole time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, when you see it, you'll understand, because it's really quite amazing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of here. I'm still going to ask you some questions as we go along.
Sure.
You're going to show us how you create these amazing pieces and how you use these fantastic products at the same time.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it.
Fantastic, brother.
Okay, Rob, well, you've got a pretty iconic gentleman up there, one of the
Yes.
27 Club.
Yes.
Yeah, guess you wouldn't have to guess, I don't think. That's Jimi Hendrix. And you're very famous for painting very famous people. And you've got some watercolor paper there, and you've got some Talon watercolor pencils.
Yep.
And you're doing what you do, which is working two hands. Tell me the process.
You know, when I'm working two hands, a lot of times what I'll do is one will hit a higher part or just a different color.
Yeah.
I can figure out where I'm going to blend ahead of time.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing it, that way I know one hand is doing one thing and blending it in, and the other is just laying a base.
But you also use Windex.
I do. Windex tends to chew paint. It tends to, instead of water will move a paint around, where Windex will eat the paint and make it drip, and gravity then works with it better. So I make a line like that, and I spray it with Windex, and you can watch it just eat the paint. But if I take water, let's say I go over here, it doesn't do anything. So the difference is one will chew the paint through, and the other will move the paint around. So the other thing I'm doing is I'm actually going to paint this with gouache, but I'm laying down a little bit of a color base with watercolor pencil, so I know that I can go in and have a base laid down where my colors are actually going to be. So I'm creating a map for myself. I used to be purely a photorealist, and then with the onset of Photoshop and all of that, it's like, why? Why would you do that? So I also got to a point where I like mistakes. I love mistakes, because mistakes are what bring life to a painting to me. If I feel it's getting too perfect, I'll do something really crazy and I'll throw paint at it, or if anybody watches videos of me, I'll spit paint, or spit water, not paint. Talons is a fantastic paint, but you're not supposed to eat it.
Yeah. Rob's actually listening to his music now, so he's actually listening to me and he's listening to the music. He actually responds very dramatically to what the music's doing, and he sort of gets into these zones occasionally. He calls it blacking out, and he just starts to work and music kicks in and away he goes. But one of my heroes is a friend of yours, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he said, I'd like to get into your brain.
Yeah, he is, God, he's a trip. I was at San Diego Comic-Con, and I was on stage with him, and listening to his theories on Star Wars and lightsabers and stuff is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
But you do about 16 comic conventions a year.
I can't make it to all of them, but I try and hit a lot of the main ones. And
Yeah, I can see what you mean about giving those Princeton brushes a workout.
oh, that is an understatement. I do things. Wow, that next comment was really going to be bad. I do things with these brushes nobody should do.
So I can just see now that there's rock and roll kicking into that earpiece. It has to be.
It's true.
It's great, but the spontaneity is quite extraordinary. But what Rob achieves with two hands, two brushes, is just quite amazing. It really is. Rare privilege to be here. Looking at your earlier work, you were really, really disciplined as far as the reality of the technique
Yes.
is concerned. And then it was your wife, Bev. Basically said, let your hair down, so to speak.
Yeah, this is how I've painted pretty much my whole life in my studio.
Yeah.
And I was getting burnout doing photorealism. I personally needed to have something that was going to challenge me a bit more. And my wife came to me and she said, why don't you paint for everybody like you paint in your studio? I was like, nobody wants to see that. And that's kind of how it started. I mean, this is how I've personally always painted for myself.
Yeah.
And my wife, who is much smarter than I am, knew enough to say, you know what? Don't quit art, because if you quit art, it's like quitting breathing. You know, after you've done it for so long, it's just ingrained in you. It's what you know. So I did that, and I switched over to this crazy whacked out style that I have.
You've actually done a few album covers for Tech Nine.
Tech Nine, I've done album covers for Blue Oyster Cult. Wow, a ton of people.
Those Tech Nine images, but are just fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Like another world.
Thank you so much. Yeah, well, you know, it's funny because in meeting Tech, I had talked to a producer who said, you really need to meet Tech. It would be great if you guys worked together. You know, me being me, I was like, I don't know, maybe, you know, let me meet him. Let me see if it's even gonna work.
Yeah.
And we met at Bob's Big Boy in Toluca Lake.
Okay.
And he came in and he just started talking about his ideas, and we just hit it off.
Amazing, and you've become good friends since?
Oh yeah. Tech he's great. I do probably 4 or 5 shows a year with him now. He's really the person that kind of got me to go on stage. I mean, I'd been talking about it with one of the other owners of Strange Music, Travis O'Gwyn, and then I was like, no, I don't know, maybe not, no. And then Tech came to me, he's like, well, don't worry about it, because I have terrible stage fright. And
yes. So he lied.
yeah, and you know, he goes, don't worry, the lights will be in your eyes. And I was like, oh, okay. So I walk out on stage, and he lied.
I can see everybody.
You know, it's like, wait a minute. And you know, so I'm on stage, and I'm thinking to myself, I can't do this. He's my friend. I think I can apologize to him. You know, I can't do this after all. And I turn around, and my wife will disagree with me. She will say that she was just standing there, because when I tell this story, you know, she's like, I didn't really do that, she did.
Yeah.
She was standing there with her arms crossed. So I was like, face my wife or face the crowd. Take the crowd.
And actually, we've got a picture of Bev that you painted as well that we're just screening up too. She's a beautiful woman.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. My wife's cool.
So you were telling me there was a funny story about a mate of yours, and he said something about a chicken head? What's the story with that?
So there was a publisher.
Yeah.
He's actually a friend. And he called me up. He didn't know me at the time. And he said, Pryor, you know, I want to hire you to do my 3-book series, but I know you hide things in your painting, so if you hide anything, I'm going to fire you.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, what would I do? Hide a chicken head in every page? So I did. In fact, when I got to the second issue, I did a double splash page, which is 2 pages that open up into a long painting. And if you turn the entire book sideways, it's a giant chicken head. And so on the 3rd issue, he calls me up and he goes, you know, I'd fire you right now, but I'm too busy looking for your chicken heads. And therefore it stuck. Had I known that a chicken head would be what stuck with my fan base, I'd have picked something way cooler than a chicken head.
You've also done some amazing pieces of the series Game of Thrones. There's some pretty spectacular series out these days, and we are in the centre of Hollywood. One of a gentleman called Jon Snow. Well, he's one of the characters in the the actual.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite shows on the air as well. So, you know, painting it and getting to put a little bit of my spin on them, I love it.
And even a lot of the Star Wars characters that you've done, I mean, I can almost guarantee that somebody's watching this show has actually seen your work somewhere, somehow, either on a book or an album cover or somewhere, because I know I'd seen it many years ago myself. But Star Wars with, you did one of all the villains with the Sith Lords.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool. I've come here today, Rob, to tell you I'm your father.
Wow, that's not weird.
So you were 6. Yes, we start young. Right? So not only are you a famous artist yourself, but you actually know some other very, very famous artists. As well.
I know a lot of artists that are just amazing, and Dorian Vallejo he's just an amazing artist. You know, to me, it's a very cool little tight community once you get in there. Art, as with any art at all, music, acting, whatever it is, can sometimes get petty, and that's a shame. Because I think artists should all just stick together, and you know, it should all be. I'm not saying one giant happy family, because that's never going to happen. But I do think that there needs to be more trading secrets and more talking and all of that. There's so much to learn from so many people. There's just like not enough time in the world for it.
Who would you say has influenced you in your career?
Well, my dad, who is an amazing artist, really influenced me. There's an artist named Bob Heindel, who, when he was with us, was known as the modern Degas. And Drew Struzan, another big influence, you know, growing up, because he did so many of the iconic movie posters.
Yeah, even some of the work that you've done yourself sort of harks back to the bygone era of the movies, with Boris Karloff and you know, the Nosferatu, the original vampire movie.
I love old monster movies. Yeah. And by the way, Graham, I have to say, after seeing your amazing art, I'll fire it right back at you. When did you start?
Long time ago, 5 years of age. But I mean, you must have started at about the same age yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, I was like basically out of the womb when my parents were having me do art. But you know, just because you or I started so young doesn't mean that you have to be young to start, because you don't. You can start at any age and accomplish whatever you want to accomplish.
So in comparison with the gouache, obviously the inks give you a lot more flow with your color.
The one thing I really like about the Ecoline inks is the fact that they're so bright and they really just pop.
You were saying before at one of the concerts you did with Tech 9 that you had a businessman from Saudi Arabia walk up to you at the end of one of the shows.
And he bought a painting from me, which I won't say the price, but I will say that it set the standard for my pricing today. And if he watches this, thank you. You know, sometimes artists just need one or two really lucky breaks to happen to them. But, you know, really at the end of the day, and I wish I would have come up with this saying, but I did not. I just am repeating it. You know, luck is just preparation meets opportunity.
Yep.
It really is preparation. It is knowing your craft and knowing it well. So I think now this painting is missing one thing.
What's that?
And that is you coming over here and painting on it.
Yeah.
So if you wouldn't mind stepping in here,
So what do you want me to do?
you can do one of two things. I'm gonna let you pick. You can start doing some of this with these little white specks.
Little white doodly dads.
Or you could get in here and just do a little bit of tweaking on that.
I'll do this on the side here.
Done.
So,
All right.
working with the master. Okay. I'll grab some of these Princeton brushes. They're pretty cool. I'm sort of trying to look at what Rob's doing so that I don't destroy any of the continuity that he's got.
Continuity. Anybody out there watching this, please drink a beer and laugh at that statement. There is no true continuity because it's all just fun.
Instead of the three of the amigos, it's the two amigos.
It's the two amigos. Woohoo! Do it. Do it.
That looks really cool.
You know, I am missing one thing.
What would that be?
Chicken head.
Okay.
Right there.
God, look at it.
And
Voila. Fantastic, buddy. That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
well, thank you for having me on your show, man.
Okay, guys, what an amazing day with an incredibly talented man. You are the superstar that everybody makes you out to be. Absolutely.
I don't know about that, but thank you, sir.
This is an artist who's a rock and roll star in America. There's no two ways about it. But it's been fantastic, mate. Your work is absolutely brilliant. Now, if somebody wants to catch up with you and see what you're doing, your website is?
robpryor.com, and you can see most of my things there. You can see I have somebody else updating it, so they put all of my dates and stuff on there. And Instagram is prior to art, PRIOR, number 2 art, ART. And that's Twitter and Instagram, and my Facebook is Rob Pryor Official.
Absolutely. Come in and see a journey of an amazingly talented human being, no two ways about it. Also, before we go, we obviously would love to thank Princeton Brushes and also Royal Talons for what they have done for Rob. They make some fantastic products. Come in and see us at colourionyourlife.com.au. And Rob, thank you so much for having us here today. It was hilarious. And remember, guys, till we meet again, make sure you put some colour in your life. We'll see you next time. Bye now, guys. See ya.